It starts with a photograph, not the photograph, not some incriminating shot of a general or a missile silo, just a photograph of your father standing outside the Soviet embassy in Vienna, 1961, shaking hands with a man the CIA will spend 11 years trying to identify. You are 19. You find it in his desk drawer 3 weeks after his funeral, and for a long moment, you just stand there in his study, smelling his cigarettes in the curtains, understanding that the man you buried was not the man you thought you knew. You don't turn the photo over to anyone, you put it in your shoe. That's where it begins. You grew up in a suburb of Baltimore with a father who worked officially in agricultural trade policy and a mother who made pot roast on Sundays and never asked questions about the trips. You were good at languages, German by 12, Russian by 16, which your father taught you with the same tone he used for everything, calm, precise, like it was just practical information, like Russian was something every American boy might need someday. You went to Georgetown. You studied international relations. You graduated in the top 4% of your class. You joined the CIA at 22 because it felt like the obvious next step, the way law school feels obvious to the son of a lawyer. You were not an ideologue. You were not burning with purpose. You were just very, very good at reading rooms. You still have the photograph in a safety deposit box in Zurich, box 7714. You've never shown it to anyone. By month 3 of your posting in West Berlin, a man named Volkov makes contact. He is GRU, Soviet military intelligence, and he doesn't pretend otherwise. He sits across from you in a café on the Kurfürstendamm with 2 cups of coffee and a manila envelope, and he says, very quietly, that he knew your father, that your father was a careful man, that careful men understand how information moves between systems like water through rock, eventually, always, finding a way through. He slides the envelope across, inside, $14,000 in non-sequential Deutsche Marks, and a single sheet of paper with 6 names on it. These are ours, Volkov says, already burned, already rolled up. We just want confirmation of the method, how you found them. 6 assets, already compromised, already gone. The math works out. You take the envelope. You tell yourself it's almost victimless. These men are already lost, and $14,000 buys you something more valuable than money. Leverage. Information about how the KGB thinks. A source inside Soviet intelligence. You tell your handler you've made contact with a walk-in who has limited but confirmable intel. You write the 6 names into your report as suspected doubles, which they are. You just don't mention that you got paid to write them. You tell yourself it was necessary. You tell yourself this is how the world works. You sleep fine that night. That is the thing that should have worried you. 5 years in, you are running 4 assets simultaneously across East Germany and one in Warsaw who has access to Politburo communications. Your official record is exceptional. You've been promoted twice. You have a wife, Diana, who teaches French at a private school in Georgetown, and a daughter named Claire who is 6 years old and already reads at a 3rd grade level. You coach her soccer team on Saturday mornings. Volkov is not your handler anymore. Volkov has been replaced by a woman who calls herself Marta, who you will never learn the real name of, who communicates through a system of dead drops in 3 European cities that runs like a Swiss watch, $22,000 every quarter, deposited into an account in Luxembourg, under a name that belongs to a Belgian shipping company that belongs to a shell company that belongs to nothing at all. The information you feed them is calibrated, plausible, real enough to establish trust, shaped carefully enough to protect your most valuable CIA assets. You burn the ones you can afford to lose. You keep the ones that matter. You tell yourself this is professional management, not betrayal. 2 years later, you're stationed in Vienna, the city in the photograph, and the operation has a different character now. You're not just passing confirmations. You are actively steering KGB suspicion away from a CIA network in Czechoslovakia that has taken 6 years and 9 lives to build. You do this by feeding Marta a name, Alexei Drubin, a Soviet cipher clerk in Prague who has, in fact, been passing information to the French, not the Americans. You give them Drubin. The French network goes dark overnight. 3 men are arrested. The CIA commends your fieldwork. Your ability to sense disruption in hostile networks is noted in your personnel file. 3 men arrested. The math works out. By 1981, you have accumulated $1.2 million across accounts in Luxembourg, Liechtenstein, and the Channel Islands. You have, over 9 years of service, burned 11 assets to the KGB.